Boom, we're live. Oh my God. Guess what? I've been talking into the ether for 13 minutes. Okay then. Maybe I've just been practicing all by my lonesome, or we got hung up, or I don't understand how this works, but it's so good that I'm practicing. And thank you to, I see in my little screen that I have 3 viewers. Thank you, thank you. I would love you to ask questions. I'm Dr. Susan Bernstein, for those of you who I haven't met and those of you who have. And I am in the process of writing a book where I would love your input. I want to make this something that's useful. Okay, Ruby Snoopy, I've got me playing in the background. Okay then. All right, so hang on, I heard me in the background. So I have 3 viewers, and I would love to know if you have questions. So I'm going to launch Q&A. And it's freezing up, and that's not much fun. No, it's not good for my computer to do this right now. So if you can hear me, which I don't know, a whole bunch of windows. Make some space here. Let's see. Thank you all, you 3 awesome viewers, for your patience. I'm trying to launch a Q&A window. I'm trying also to get this broadcast to look like it's doing something. But if you have any questions, I'm gonna talk about my new book, or the book I'm writing, which is tentatively titled How to Be More Sensational, and it's all about careers. And I am totally stopped on the video. I do not know what to do, but we can figure it out. Okay, it says that it's become unresponsive. That is not good. There we go. Yeah, baby. Okay, let's hit Q&A. So you can ask some Q's, and I can give you some A's. If you're on Google, you'll be able to see. Yay, this is coming up. If you're on Google, you'll be able to see the place for questions. If you don't see Google, you can ask me a question by sending it to info, I-N-F-O, at sensationalshift.com. Again, that's info, I-N-F-O, at sensationalshift.com. Or you can, if you're connected to me on Facebook, Susan Bernstein, you can send me a question on Facebook. And I see just 1 viewer, but I love you dearly. I love all of you viewers. I don't know, this is so learning this technology. Yikes. Let me go ahead, for those 2 viewers, thank you, whoever you are, I adore you. I'm going to share with you my screen so you can see what I'm up to writing. Ooh, I got a question. Am I here? Yes, Kurt Rosengren, you're here. Yes. Yes, Kurt Rosengren, you are here. Thank you, big time. Yay. I saw your beautiful picture of you getting a very nice long hug. I'm going to get one Friday, all being well. So thank you for being here. Yes, you are here. Thank you big time. You can ask all the questions you want. All right, so I don't know who else is here, but if you all want to invite your friends to come on down, you're the next contestant on Susan Bernstein's learning experience. Okay, I'm going to share with you, hopefully screen share is going to work. Yeah, baby. Actually, I would love if somebody would go on in the Q&A and tell me if this graphic that I'm just putting up now is forwards or backwards to you, because I don't want it to be backwards. Yes, Kurt Rosengren, exactly, we. So please, if you would tell me if you're seeing this forwards or backwards, it would help immensely. So this is what the book is about, and I feel very fortunate that I have some people helping out with asking me good questions, having discussions, so that I can write this stuff because it comes from the heart. So hopefully you are seeing the outline, and I just want to share where this came from. So Kurt, who also is an amazing career coach, can probably attest to this same issue. I worked with people in career transition for over 10 years, and I was starting to feel like, oh my God, I'm a failure as a career coach, because people who, yay, Kurt, thank you, it's forwards, love ya. Thank you for being my point person there. Ugh, I'm so relieved that it's forwards to you. Um, so sharing about this story, as a career coach, I was feeling really like a failure because people who I was working with were not leaving their jobs. And I'm like, oh my God, that's terrible. They should be leaving their jobs. But in fact, what was happening is some of the people were leaving their jobs, but some, probably more like 60%, were actually happier in their jobs and said, I don't have to leave. And I think that really comes from a philosophy that I'm finally able to articulate, which is I believe that when you feel sensational about yourself, your most sensational work comes through you, and then you inspire and touch all these other people around you, your colleagues, your collaborators, your clients, and they feel inspired to do their best work, to be their most sensational and give their sensational best. And then everything starts getting better and better and more sensational. But it really starts inside yourself, feeling sensational about yourself. And what I started to do is to articulate what I had been doing with clients that helped them to feel sensational, the principles that I would be sharing with them. And my orientation comes from both having an MBA and very pragmatic training and lots of experience in the business world at big companies like Intel and Accenture and Franklin Covey, and a PhD in mind-body psychology that was super, super experiential. I'm going to put me back on so I don't bore you to pieces with just staring at a screen of these ideas. I'll come back to them. So hopefully you're seeing me. Oh, Lucien's here! Yay! Thank you, Lucien. It's so great to have you here. Awesome. One of the most amazing violinists ever. You've got to have a concert again soon so I can come hear you. So super to have you here. So basically, where was I going? Oh, I wanted to share with you that I have this background, both an MBA and this PhD in mind-body psychology, and what I discovered in this highly experiential body psychology training was, oh my God, our bodies are signaling us all the time. And I started bringing that to my clients about, so what are you noticing in your body? What are the signals, the signs, the instincts, the impulses that are giving you information? So it's not always up in your head. So the first principle of the book, and I'll just share it really quickly with you. I'll do a screen share with you so you can see this really quickly. This first principle of the book that I'm writing is, you see up in the upper right-hand corner, don't believe everything you think. Now that might sound like that's not a very body-centered idea. Like, what? Don't believe everything you think? Isn't that about your brain? Do you feel that? But what I noticed with people is that lots of people say these things to themselves like, I'll never get another good job, or I don't really have what it takes, or I don't really know what I'm doing in this career change. They say all these things to themselves, and then I would ask them, do they have to believe that? And the way that I would kind of check their belief meter was how they felt in their body. So I'd ask them, how do you feel when you say that? Do you feel tight and constricted, or do you feel loose and expanded? And in general, you can gauge your own thoughts by how they make you feel. So if you're feeling tight and constricted, that's generally negative thinking. And if you're feeling loose and expanded, that's generally positive thinking. So it is actually important. This is very body-centered, and it's a great place to start because most people don't want to just jump right into their bodies and be like, what do I feel? Most people need a little coaxing in, and the brain's where we have a lot of experience. So this is often where I start people. And there's a whole set of ideas that I want to share in the book about stinking thinking, which lots of people address, but I want to address it in a way that helps you get in touch with, well, is my thinking on target for me? Is it going to take me in a positive, soul-affirming direction, or is it going to be more of a soul-sucking experience? And there's a whole other idea that I'm super excited to share in here. Yep, got me back, good. There's a whole other idea that I want to share around this, that about don't believe everything you think, which is that basically when we're having rumination, like our brains are super busy. You get rumination when you think of an idea over and over and over again. I think you have me back, Kurt. So I'd say yes, you should be seeing me now. Actually, Kurt, will you tell me if you're seeing me, or are you still seeing the graphic? I see me on my control panel, but if you don't see me, that's the bigger issue. So let me know, please, in the Q&A section. That would be so rockin' awesome. We should have more people here, but this is great. This is totally informal, impromptu, and look, it's working. So I'm kind of excited, and I'm going to post one of these to do with clients next week just to try it the heck out, because it's kind of fun. And it's way more fun than I do a lot of teleclasses, and you don't see anything. At least I can see my own sweet mug and say, oh, am I smiling or not? Yep, I'm smiling, or yep, you see me, or yep, both. Thanks, Kurt. Wow, you're rocking. Well, I should have you in all my sessions. Yeah, so this idea about that you shouldn't believe everything you think. You know, you get rumination when your mind gets really, really busy and you keep circling around an idea again and again and again, thinking, if I just think it through, it'll all be better. And you try thinking and thinking and thinking, but you get in this stuck loop. The Onion just ran a great, funny story about, yeah, the great way to solve anxiety is to just think more. And of course, it was very tongue-in-cheek, as The Onion always is. But, you know, lots of times, especially, Kurt, I'm guessing you've seen this, that when somebody's in career change, like, if I just think harder, I'll come up with the idea of what I should do. FYI, my answers seem to have a lag. Yes, Kurt, that's okay. That's helpful for me to know. That's super helpful. Super, super helpful. Thank you. So if you're sitting there and you're saying to yourself, what should I do next? And you're like, oh, I should think and think and think it through. If I could just think a little bit more, I'll have the idea of what I should do next in my career. That's rumination. Or you're, even worse is when you think, okay, I should know what I'm going to do in my career, and then you think about thinking about that. Like, why do I know what I should do in my career next? God, I'm not very smart. Why do I do that to myself? Why do I not know what I should do? And then you're like, oh my God, and then you start thinking, you're up all night, middle of the night, you can't sleep. It drives you crazy. That's rumination. So what's super cool, that I'm so excited about, and I'm a geek, is that if you're ruminating, the antidote for rumination is sensation. To be in touch with the sensations in your body. Because the part of your brain that ruminates is inversely correlated with the part of your body that gets in touch with sensation. So the more you ruminate, the less you can be in touch with your sensations, and vice versa. The more you're in touch with sensation, the less you can ruminate. You know this because let's say you do some sport or something physical that you're really, really into. And when you're out, let's say you're a runner and you're out for a phenomenal run, and you're running and running and running and running, you are not ruminating over your problems because you're just so in the flow, you're in the zone. You're feeling your feet as they hit the pavement, you're feeling the sweat on your chest, you're feeling your arms as they're moving, and you're like, do-do-do-do-do-do. I should have Luciens playing violin now. You know, you're doing that crazy run thing. Then you're not in your sensation. You're not in rumination. Likewise, when you're ruminating, like you're in the middle of your taxes, and like, if I put the 401k number here, and I put the number for my W-2 over here, and you're like, oh, what should I do? And did I make enough money this year? And you're agonizing over that. You are not in touch with your body and feeling the way you feel when you're getting a great massage. Those just totally incompatible. And that's because the two parts of your brain are inversely correlated. One goes up, the other goes down. So, cool trick. If you're in the middle of rumination, and you can remember to do this, and you have to practice, but if you're in the middle of rumination and you practice, you can actually switch things up so that instead of ruminating, you go, wait, I'm just going to feel, You know, I'm ruminating about my crazy job situation. How does that feel in my body? Oh, sensation. Let's see. My stomach is kind of tight. Oh, my breathing is kind of shallow. Oh, I feel this lumpy thing in my throat. And what you do when you're doing that is you just keep naming the sensation with no evaluation, no story, no meaning. Just stay in the sensations. Just keep doing that. Stay there, stay there. It's like, oh, and my feet feel a little cold, and the big toe on my left foot is pressing against the floor, and it's kind of popping up the toe next to it. And then I can feel my butt on the chair, and kind of the very back of my butt towards my tailbone feels especially heavy. Do you see what I'm doing? And now I'm not in the middle of rumination. So if you can do that for a few minutes and just narrate to yourself, whether you narrate out loud, everybody can hear you. All right, you can hear you at least. Or you do it in your head, you start taking down that rumination. Like, oh. And then you get back to yourself. And the thing that it really does, this technique of paying attention to your sensation and just staying in that sensation, is you get present. And that's where all the magic is. Excuse me. That's where all the magic is. You just, magic come right out. So all the magic happens there. So I'm just noticing it's 9 o'clock, and I've had some really cool visitors coming on by to check out my first try at this crazy Google Hangout OnAir thing. And I would love to know two things. One is, do you have any more questions for me? And two, do you want me to keep going on any of this? So my two viewers, if you would go to your Google Hangout screen or wherever, actually I'd love to know where you're seeing the questions. Do they show up on YouTube also if you watch it on YouTube? I don't get to know because I'm busy here at the control panel and I can't be a participant. So yeah, do we keep going? And if so, about questions or something else, or if you had enough and like, okay, I tried that out, thank you. It's totally okay, whatever your answer is. So if you would, I know, and I guess there's a lag. So I'm happy to wait and hear what you see, what you have to say. So if you would drop something into the Q&A section, and I will respond. That would be awesome. Oh, go, 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 says Kurt. Yay! All right, I will go, go, go for a little bit. Lucien would love to hear from you if you're there. And Kurt, will you tell me if you're finding me, if you're doing this through Google or YouTube, and yeah, where you're seeing the Q&A place for you to reply to. That would be super helpful. You're on the Hangout. Okay, so that means you have Google Plus. Is that correct? You have a Google account and you're on G Plus. Is that right? Are you doing this through your G Plus account? My expressiveness is fun. I'm so straight. I'm just like a robot. I don't know how to do that. I would make a really crappy robot or zombie. Yeah, I would just make a really, really bad version. Okay, well, I'm going to go on. I'm going to talk about, let's see, I'll do this till 9:15. Just the heck of it, whatever. It's kind of fun. Yay! Lucian says keep going. Okay, you guys. Wow. All right, so you're giving me some steam, some go for what I'm going to do next week. I'm really excited. Wow. Okay. All right. I'm gonna have to make sure you two get invited and come along. I'm going to talk about, I think what I'm going to talk about is confidence. You don't have to be sorry, Lucian. He says yes. And Lucian, I have to know when you're going to play again locally. And Kurt, if you're ever here, you have to hear Lucian play. His music is beautiful. Just beautiful, beautiful. Okay, and he's an awesome dancer too. That's how I know him. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the fun graphic. It's backwards. That's forwards. Okay. So another indicator for people about their own being sensational is about shouldering their own share. I don't know if you actually, you can tell me, guys, if you actually see. Lucien's on G+2. All right, thank you mucho. That helps. So another principle is shoulder just your share in terms of being more sensational. And okay, that's my phone, but it's not somebody from here. Another principle is shoulder just your share. And this came from watching people, especially during, okay, tell me when you see this. I'm going to time it. Boom. Wow, Kurt, you're rocking. Thank you. So about shoulder just your share, what I noticed is I worked with a lot of people after the recession in career change. And one of the things that they were saying, actually not so much around career change. Oh, somebody else just joined us. Welcome, whoever's viewer number 3, who just disappeared. Okay, then. We'll see how that works. Okay. Anyway, let's see. So this thing about shoulder just your share. I worked with not so much people around career change, but really around being happier in their careers that they were currently in, dealing a lot with conflict in their careers. And I would I would hear from a lot of people saying, my shoulders hurt a lot. My shoulders hurt a lot. And I would ask them about what's going on in their work situation. And so many people post-2008 recession, ooh, awesome, 50-second lag. Thank you, Kurt. Post-recession, so many people have taken on more than one job, right? So their colleagues left, they were fired, they were let go, they were laid off, they were furloughed interminably. And now my voice is entirely gone. What? Oh, that is so not good. Oh, that is so not good. Okay, how do I tell the audience that my voice has disappeared? I'm still here! Let's see if I go back to the... That is really good to know. That actually means that I probably need... I'm here! I am here! I'm going to talk about the graphics some more without having it up. Oh, look, I have group chat. How did I find that? Is my voice back? How did I get that Q&A, baby? Where did it come from? That's a cameraman. That's a screen share. That's a chat. There we go. So I don't know if you can enter the chat room or just tell me on the Q. Can you see? Is that working? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Let's see. I see the graphic. I don't hear you. Oh. This is bad. The graphic is gone. There is a lag. Lag. This is serious lag. That's not good. I don't know what this means. Now I have 3 thingies, 4 thingies. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you see me? Is she swimming? Ah. Can you see me? Can you see me? Can you hear me? That's not good. It's not good. Let's see if I can get... Can you hear me now? I know, Lucien hears me. Okay, that rocks. Can you see me? Or are you still seeing the graphic? Because you shouldn't be seeing the graphic, you should be seeing moi. This is really good for me to know. I wonder if, because I'm on wireless, and it's not the most optimal wireless, if that's what the lag is. And is it awful? Is it like I'm in slow motion? Can you tell me? Okay, this is just super good learning experience. And I have like the best guys out there giving me feedback, but it looks like this is freaking slow. Like serious lag. Like, okay then. Now I gotta think of whose office I can go put a real plug in because I'm on total wireless. No problems on my end, says Lucien. Awesome! Lucien, are you seeing me or are you seeing the graphic right now? And it looks like I have one viewer, which is probably Lucien. I don't know. I'm guessing. Let's see if anything's coming through on my email. We can look on my handy dandy phone and find out. Nope. And we get back to 2 viewers. Okay, so I don't know if that means people drop off. Anyway, I think I'll talk about one more idea from the graphic, or finish the idea I was talking about. So this thing about shouldering your share, I just started noticing that so many people were dealing with taking on so many other people's work because their coworkers had been fired and laid off and furloughed and all those good things, not so good things, and that they just felt like they were supposed to take it, you know. But it's kind of inhuman to have one person do 2 or 3 or 4 people's work. It means you're at work all the time. We're not robots. But I understand the care and the concern about, well, if I leave my job, I'm not going to get any money, and I'm not going to have, how am I going to keep the roof over my head and the food in my belly and my kids' bellies, and oh boy. So I understand, I really get it. But I could tell that lots of people, all right, good, you're seeing me, yay. I could tell that lots of people were dealing with this issue of taking on too much. And so the kind of quick diagnostic is, how do your shoulders feel? Because I would hear it all the time from people, oh my God, my shoulders ache, my shoulders ache. And I'm always telling people, shoulder just your share. Now, sometimes it's not necessarily easy advice, but it does mean you can go back to your manager and say, hey, I've now got 4 people's worth of work to do. How do you help me out here? Let's figure out how this one person, can get all these people's work done in a regular workout, work day. Let's say 8, maybe 10 hours. And ask them. But the diagnostic is, are you shouldering just your share? And if you're not, if you're shouldering more than that, what can you dump? What can you delegate? What can you just destroy as a task? And really looking at how to be more efficient as an organization. But it starts with you, and that noticing. Again, how to be sensational is noticing in your own sensation the feedback that you've got. I'm just going to share one more technique, one more tool, sorry, one more part from the book. And one more part from the book, and that is get inspired. I'm writing a whole chapter about this. If you really want to be and feel your sensational best, your breathing is so important to that. And rare is the person who's ever been taught how to breathe, right? We know how our parents go, let's inhale together at the dinner table. Let's exhale together at the dinner table. Conversations might be a lot easier, more fun, if we were really present and breathing and inspired, but most of our parents aren't yogis, right? So mine certainly aren't. They're awesome, but we didn't learn how to breathe at home. quite the opposite. I learned a lot of how to unintentionally learned how to be tense and nervous and anxious and worried and uptight and hold my breath right up here. And when your breath is right up here, you're like cutting off your oxygen. And if you cut off as little as 30% of your oxygen, it's like starving your brain. You know, one of the primary foods that your brain needs is oxygen. We know that we can live for days without eating, and even a few days, 3 days without drinking water. We can only go about 3 minutes without breathing. It's essential. We literally have to stay inspired. So if you want to feel sensational about yourself, you can't do the kind of breathing that keeps you anxious. Oh, Kurt hit pause and couldn't hear me. That's probably also why you disappeared off the viewer screen. Okay, got it. Thank you, Kurt. So if you breathe, if you cut off as little as a third of your oxygen, you're not going to think as clearly, which doesn't help you be very sensational, right? If your thinking apparatus is starved for what it needs. So a lot of what I'm going to be sharing in that chapter are what I call pranayamas, and those are breathing techniques. And the key principle is that you want to breathe long, long, luxurious breaths, and slow and deep, because that makes you feel good. And if you can get your breathing down to 8 cycles of inhalation, hold, exhalation, or less per minute, you just can't be anxious. And worrying energy keeps us from being sensational. So I'm so excited to share some of the breathing techniques that I've been learning over the last 10 years that have really helped me to feel more sensational, more energized, more clear-headed, it's more open. And so I'm super excited to share that in the book. So that's a quick sneak peek at 3 of the 12 chapters. It's starting to make me think, wow, maybe I should just write a book, 1 book per each of these, but I don't know, we'll see. It's just so much fun to be capturing those ideas and have a framework for them, and that it's really about, I really care about helping people feel sensational about themselves so they can bring their best work forward. So before I sign off and say a big thank you for helping me with this big experience, thank you, Kurt, for being here again. I just want to hear if there's any questions that you want me to answer tonight or at some point in the book or anywhere. Meaning of life questions are probably a little hard and outside the context of this, but anything else goes. So anything else you want to know before I sign off tonight? I'll wait a second to see if there's anything that comes through in the Q&A section. Ooh, I just see that there's a lag. I can see it. Whoa. We'll wait 2 more seconds, see if there's anything. Anything else you guys want to say? Is it okay if I sign off for now? I know I need to wait 50 seconds because I know this is like, well, you may have said while I was gone, but what are some first aid things for stress, anxiety, etc.? Totally happy to share those. The biggest thing I can say for first aid, I'm going to say 2 big things for stress, anxiety, etc. I'm going to move the screen down so you can see. I'm going to squat a little. Putting your 2 hands on your heart. There is something so healing, so sacred, so magical about putting your hands on your heart. Yes, Kurt, even when you're gripped, especially when you're gripped. Because that's what anxiety does, it's a grip from the inside. But if you can from your own outside, put hands on your heart, Your heart's your deepest connection to your soul, your spirit, your essence. And there's something just so profound. You know, I've done this with very serious, very business-like and professional, in the deepest sense of the word, MBA students when they've been anxious. And I'm like, would you take just a minute and bring your hands to your heart and let yourself breathe there? So yeah, I think that's really one of the biggest techniques. And then the other one is to, wow, yep, there's a serious lag. You have to come up with some spoken word pieces to fill the gap. Okay. And not sure when the questions come, I'll ask. You may get a spontaneous message in your inbox. That's cool. So yeah, I've got to figure out how to not have the lag, and maybe I'll go do some research and find out why there's lags on Google+. That's really important for me to know. And maybe I'll just have a whole set of, well, if I have a whole bunch of people in the audience, I'll just answer the ones I can. The other one is really long, slow, deep breathing. So if you know you're anxious and you can slow your breathing down, it really helps. So in Kundalini Yoga, which is the yoga that I practice, the person who brought that yoga to the West is a man who went by the name Yogi Bhajan. And what Yogi Bhajan said that I have practiced and seen the success of is when you're really anxious, do something called 1-minute breathing. It definitely takes some practice, and just practicing it, that part alone can help take down the anxiety. So I encourage you to practice it for 3 to 5 minutes. And what 1-minute breathing is breathing in for 20 seconds, holding for 20 seconds, and letting the breath out for 20 seconds. So I'm going to just try it right now. I'm going to set my little alarm and go. I'm doing the inhale part. Exhale for 20 seconds. Okay, I made it by with about 4 seconds remaining. For me, the hardest part is that exhale, the 20 seconds of exhale. And sometimes it's hard for me to do a whole 20 seconds of inhale. But it's about trying, and it's about expanding your lung capacity. And it's said in Kundalini Yoga that your diaphragm muscle, which is just under your rib cage, sits on top of your liver. Your liver is the major organ for your emotions. And when you start to tune your diaphragm muscle, if your diaphragm muscle's not tuned, then it gets heavy and it sits on your liver and it presses on your liver. And it's an emotional place, and your emotions are going to get more stirred up. But if you can tune your diaphragm, which you do with breathing techniques, then it's more fluid and flexible. And when you get gripped by anxiety, instead of your diaphragm going boom and landing on top of your liver, it doesn't have to happen. Your diaphragm can stay fluid and flexible and stay just above your liver, so that even if you feel pressed in your life, your diaphragm will be fluid and flexible and responsive. And like the breathing, it starts to become a muscle that literally, kicks in when you're anxious, so that it's not pressing on top of your liver. That's at least the yogic philosophy, and there's some physiology in that. I haven't actually physically seen, a human being breathing, and it would be really cool to do, I don't know, an MRI or something like that to watch this, but I understand from some of the physicians who study Kundalini Yoga that this actually happens. So I just think it's super cool. So hopefully those two techniques, the hands on your heart and the long, slow, deep breathing, will help you, can help you in the grip of anxiety. And I'd love to hear for you what happens and if and how that makes you feel more sensational. Hopefully that's a help. Would love to know, Kurt, if you want to share anything about what I just said. If you want to, yeah, if there's anything that comes up from that that you want to put in the Q&A for me to address, I'd be happy to do that. Or does that speak to what you asked? Well, hopefully it did. You know, we have this big old lag period. I just want to say a big, huge thank you. I know that Lucien and Kurt were on, and maybe there were a few other people who were on. I know there was at one point 3, and I think even 4 people. So thank you to those of you who had to be awesomely patient. And I will also find out what I need to do for my next broadcast to see how to make it more effective. Oh, as if I ever have stress or anxiety, huh? Yeah, none of us does, Kurt. You're just the only one all by yourself. Anyway, I'm just kidding. The reason I know so much about this is I grew up in a family that did not do such a good job of teaching me how to deal with my own neuroses and the ones that I inherited. So I have been on a lifelong hunt for ways to deal with it. So yes. And yes, absolutely, Kurt. I think we all do this work both for ourselves and the people we serve. So I totally understand, and hopefully this was helpful. So I want to say a really good night to everybody. And thank you so, so much. Thank you so deeply. Super excited to have had you here. And if you want to follow up with any questions, I would be super happy to do that with you. And just a big, huge thank you. So have a great night, everybody. Take care. Thank you. Bye for now.